Mr. Mayor, Council, I really am excited to be here tonight to introduce Mr. Fidel and talk a little bit about the Sustainable Environment Commission. This year, we had the great opportunity through my department, our Environmental Services Group, to act as the staff liaison for this commission. Kyle Steele, who's our Environmental Services Group supervisor, is the staff liaison. And there's really been some exciting things happening with this commission. It's something that I think that the role of the commissions, as so often is said in this chamber, is so critical to our community. It's something that we rely heavily on the expertise and feedback that we get from so many wonderful people in our community, and that is definitely not the exception with the Sustainable Environment Commission. They provide us with a lot of great insight. We have a lot of things that we run by them, ideas that we have that we want to get some more eyeballs on and get some feedback on. The city really takes sustainability seriously, and so the Sustainable Environment Commission is an active commission. Just this year, we've launched a new internal recycling program. We've been heavily promoting our conservation program, and we'll be bringing a report to the council on the impact of the conservation program. As many will see, we've got our City Hall Yscape that took place that's really coming into its own this year. We metered that entirely separately so we can track all the resources that go into it, and we'll be bringing a report to the council about the impacts of that. Our greenhouse gas inventory is shortly going to come before this chamber. We have a continued success with our Eco-Driver program. In this last year, we saw below 50,000 gallons of fuel usage, and that's the first time we'd seen that in over a decade. And shortly, we'll be bringing a proposal for a set of environmental stewardship awards, which is a program that we hope to help promote sustainability. And all of these things are things that have gone before our Sustainable Environment Commission, that they've helped us craft these programs. So we really just couldn't appreciate more of the work that they do. And I'll turn the time over to Scott, who will give you a little more information on what's been going on.
Thanks, Tyler. Mayor, Council, first of all, I want to thank Tyler for a great year of staff liaison work for us. He's been terrific, and the staff liaison provides a valuable role for us in sort of being able to bounce some things off and say, so how should we approach this with the, that kind of thing, and so really appreciate that. Okay, I'm just going to take a few minutes to update you on some of the things that we have been doing and some things that we're working on. That's our mission statement, basically to solicit advice and information about sound environmental management practices for promoting the public health and safety of the citizens of Moscow. So some recent activities, we were co-sponsors of the Pollinator Symposium, Be Safe in Our Backyards and Public Spaces. That was co-sponsored by the Palouse Environmental Sustainability Coalition, the Palouse Prairie Foundation, the Palouse Group Sierra Club, and Invertebrate Ecology. And a lot of the focus of this was bringing some attention to the problems that we're having nationwide as well as on the Palouse with the disappearance and reduction in population of pollinators, which is a serious issue. Following up on that, I've done this the past couple of years. I've established a relationship with the local radio stations through my work in Rendezvous in the Park as well as the Sustainable Environment Commission. So I leaned on some of my colleagues there and wrote a radio spot which they produced and ran on basically Inland Empire broadcasting stations as well as Pullman Radio. And the spot was run during National Pollinator Week, which was June 19th to 25th, and here's the spot.
Most of us realize that pollinating insects like bumblebees are important in the reproduction and fruiting of flowering plants. But what you may not realize is that pollinators are in crisis. Honeybees are dying in unprecedented numbers and native pollinator species are disappearing. The causes are a combination of factors including loss of bee habitat and use of pesticides. June 19th to 25th is National Pollinator Week, and here are some ways you can help our flying friends. First, reduce or eliminate pesticide use, and if you must use them, apply when pollinators aren't active, like in the evening. Create pollinator-friendly habitat by reducing your lawn area and planting a border of native flowering plants. Plant a variety of flowering plants to attract and feed butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds throughout the growing season. To learn more about how you can help bring back pollinators on the Palouse, visit pollinatorwatch.org. This message brought to you by the City of Moscow's Sustainable Environment Commission.
In anticipation of future stormwater management issues, we invited Rob Buchert, the manager of Pullman Stormwater Management Program, to address the commission and give us sort of a here's what's been happening in Pullman address. And I got to tell you, it was pretty scary. The budget was a major surprise to us in terms of not only what they budgeted, but how inadequate that seemed to be once they've gotten going. So we've got some fun ahead of us. We also received a report on the impacts and successes of Moscow's water conservation program from city staffer Nicole Baker. Oops, hello. Oops, sorry. Okay, and we also invited the city's sustainability intern, Kelly Cooper, to present a summary of the 2016 greenhouse gas inventory results, which I must say were quite impressive. So kudos. One thing the Commission has been doing for a number of years is providing a list of nominations and justifications for the nominations to the mayor for his annual Earth Day Awards. And we did that again this year and nominated the following individuals and businesses in the following categories. In terms of what's next, one thing we're working on, which has been occupying a lot of our time and will be occupying a lot of our time in the future, is concern that some citizens have brought to the Commission about the use of pesticides in city parks and playfields. So this is something that we've been doing some research on. I'm chairing a subcommittee on this, which is actually meeting tomorrow night. And we've been in contact with Dwight, letting him know we're doing this, and hope to bring Dwight to a future meeting in the near future, actually, so we can have a discussion with him about some of the concerns and also some recommendations that we're putting together based on our research. The Commission will also be manning a table at the August 26th Farmers Market, informing citizens about our activities and giving us a chance to do some recruiting, though I think we only have one spot open and that may not be open very long, so which is a nice problem to have. We are also planning to, oops, hello, what happened to that next slide? Here it is. Okay. Co-sponsor a movie film in the co-op film series called Keep the Hive Alive. You see a continuing theme here, which documents the life and challenges of the honeybee, and that film is scheduled to show in September. That's the current roster of members, and the staff liaison, Gina Taruccio, is our council liaison, and Kyle Steele has taken over from Tyler as our staff liaison. And as you can see, we're almost full. Debbie Kadlik and Heath Bingham are two very new members in the last few months. And one of the things I'm very proud of, because it goes back to the 7 years I was chair, we continue to be able to keep membership from Moscow High School. And we've had continuing membership from high school students, and I got to tell you, those kids are terrific. They participate, they show up, and they do work. And it's really encouraging to see how involved they are. Okay, I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Scott, I got one thing I want to share about Scott. Years ago, when I first got on council, Scott was the chair of the Sustainable Environment Commission, and I was the liaison. Back in the day, it's been like, I don't know, 12 years ago now, Scott, or something like that. And and it was a very good thing for me. It was a good education for me to learn a lot of different things about just all kinds of stuff, you know, whether it be about bees or whatever, or recycling and all the different things. And I think this city has came a long, long ways in the last decade on carbon emissions and a bunch of other things. And a lot of that is directly for the commission that you are part of, Scott. So I certainly appreciate it.
And we'd like to take some credit for educating you about
Well,
some things.
well, you know,
noticing a change in your attitudes as mayor, which we think is great.
See, you got to have a, well, see.
Got that early experience with you, right?
Well, Scott, I'm an old farm boy, you know, but once we,
That's right.
once we learn a few times, well, we got it, see. So
Thank you.
questions for
Any
Scott?
other questions?
Jim.
I'd like to also recognize Scott for all the work he does on Rendezvous in the Park. He brings a lot to the table in terms of marketing and programming to that program, which was started by the city and now is self-sustaining. And we had one of our best years ever, and that's in large part due to your efforts, sir. So thank you very
Since I
much.
got the podium, let me say thank you to the city for the wonderful support. We put over 1,500 people through the gates in 3 nights. It's one of the biggest rendezvous we've ever had for our 35th anniversary. So thanks for all the
Well,
support.
it's an icon in Moscow in the middle of the
It is.
summer, so it's been
Yeah.
terrific,
It is.
Scott.
Thank you all.
You bet. Thank you.